Unreal. G'day and welcome. I did have a guy say to me something quite interesting, a Patreon member, that there's been a bit of weight gain, and I'm tired, could be diabetes, tingly fingers, that sort of thing. I went and got a blood test this morning, and I had my knee looked at, had some x-rays on my knee as well. And the blood tests are actually quite interesting. Normally, you look away or you kind of just ignore it and close your eyes and think of England. Whatever you do, you sort of tend to ignore them. This one I watched, it was quite interesting because they put the needle in, and these vials, these like empty vials that you get, and they're vacuum filled, and they put the vial on and it fills up with blood. So they took 4 vials. They're checking, your prostate and all that sort of stuff, and cancer markers, and what's the other one? Cholesterol and diabetes in this case. But anyway, it explains if I have got some sort of type 2 diabetes, it would explain why I'm tired. I put it down to the last 5 years, I'm going to say. I've been really, really tired because I've been doing projects, but the projects don't make me tired. It's there was the work stuff that I've mentioned and not enjoying it and that sort of thing, and that's all looking a lot more positive now, which is a great thing. But also, the marriage and all these sorts of other things sort of add up, and they make you tired because you've got so much to do in terms of legal stuff, and here comes the rain and that sort of stuff. But I want to get back into these projects. I'm going to have to start yelling because I'm really excited with what's going on here. So, firstly, I'm about to send the bumpers away for the Plymouth to get re-chromed, the front and rear ones. And once I've done the engine, and I haven't been able to do much on that because my knee's been sore. Come on, really? And put it all back together, put the front clip on, the bumpers on, and then the car's pretty much finished. I'm just going to sort out a wheel cylinder leak and a few bits, but the Plymouth isn't worrying me. I can put the headlining in, I'll do that myself, and we'll go through that in the video. And I'm going to paint the floor and the boot section because it's got a lot of that panel shop type overspray, dusty sort of crap in it, and I want to make it look all new again, So we'll do that. The XC, of course, we know about. I keep banging on about the guards, but they're on the way. That's fine. The motorcycles, somebody said to me yesterday, I did a live feed yesterday, perhaps you should finish some bikes this year, or it would be nice to see you finish some bikes. He wasn't rude or anything, but there's the Susie up there you saw before. Well, we'll have a look in a minute. It's up on the back porch. And the Honda, the 354, and I want to get into that 750 again. I've got to paint the bonnet on the MG, and just stuff, you know what I mean? But I'd really, what I intend to do is the Plymouth's going to go and stay with Susie and a new fella. It's a great country car. It hasn't got power steering or anything like that, which is fine. You're in the country, you're doing, 60 miles an hour, whatever, 50 miles an hour. And so it's going to be better suited to that sort of environment than around here, which is just congested and rubbish. And this will go somewhere else too, this little MG. And so the EJ is going to come in, and I'll have to get a rotisserie, I think, for that. To get that rolling, I can restore some of the small subsystems. That's kind of easy stuff. And do the engine and build that stand we're talking about. And also, but the body has to be stripped down to nothing, which isn't a hard job. I can do that in one video. And then put it on a rotisserie or some sort of dolly and send it off and get it blasted, because it's just too surface rusty and dirty to do anything with at the moment, or at least I don't want to have to clean it up manually. It's a pain in the neck. The other thing I need to get into is work on the house, and that's been difficult because when somebody moves out of a house, if they've got a lot of stuff, I don't know, there's a lot of other bits and pieces you need to do, getting furniture, painting rooms and all this sort of other stuff, and that takes a little while to do. Not just in order to carry the work out, but also to think about how you want it to look, particularly if you're changing the configuration of the place around. So the kids and I have decided the front room's in this sort of rose taupe colour, for want of a better term, and we're going to do it in more green and remodel it, get some new furniture, that sort of stuff. So it all takes time, and I'm a kind of a mood-driven person, so you tend to do what you're in the mood to do at the time. Well, a fine morning indeed. It's Monday. Go back to work on Friday. Time for another road trip. Commodore's leaving us. It's going to stay with Susie for a little while until I get the Plymouth done. It's a car I bought brand new in 2010. It's one of the very, in September 2010, it's one of the very early Series 2s, one of the first ones. It was actually on the showroom floor when I first saw it. Here it is here in the showroom at Penfold Holden in Burwood. I first saw these at the motor show in 2008, and I said to my brother at the time, I'm going to buy one of those. I thought it was the best looking wagon I'd ever seen, but I pulled these out and had a look, and I love it. Anyway, so it's all packed. It's chockers like the little Toyota was. So we'll just see. I don't like cars not living with me, but, well, there's quite a few of them here. Including there, and there's a trailer behind the Starlet, which is crap on the front lawn. I like the front lawn clean, but what do you do? So it's time to go. I don't know how much petrol I've got. It's a beautiful car, this, particularly for trips. There we go. Sweet. Got it in the aircon at the moment. It was down like 7:15 in the morning, so I'm going to go and fill up with fuel and be on my merry way. I'll be back tonight. I'll come home on the train with Rosie. Where is it? Here we go. Chicken triple and travel drink. A guy commented on that. He said you don't go for the Pepsi, you go for the Coke. Well, mainly because I don't sleep very well, and I do prefer something with caffeine. Sweet. I'm going to sit here and just enjoy my chronometer while I can. I'll just move up a little bit. This is so freaking great, this car. I tell you what, at high speed, I shouldn't leave it at home. I should leave it at home. I shouldn't be leaving it here. It's so effortless. This is where these things shine. They're not particularly great in the city, I don't think. They're sort of big and cumbersome, and car parks seem to be getting smaller, but at high speed, they're incredible. In fact, at double the speed limit, the maximum legal, I still think they'd be stable. Oh. And the centre of gravity is quite low. If you look at SUVs, there's a lot of very powerful SUVs around, but they have a very high centre of gravity, and I wouldn't feel safe in them. 245 tyres, and this isn't even the SSV. I think they had 19s on them. I don't know how wide they were, what the profile was. It could have been a 40 or something like that. I put Bridgie Pretenders on this a while ago, but I don't give this car enough praise. In fact, when I bought it, I can't say I was in love with it. I liked it, but I wasn't sure how much I liked it, because with age, I really do enjoy it. Much more than I used to. One thing I was disappointed about when I got it, I drove it around, I'd done, I think, 7,000 Ks, and it started getting a noisy lifter, or a couple of noisy lifters were sort of ticking, and it really annoyed me, because I've got a 40-year-old 302 to do that at the time, and the reason was it's got the same engine as the cylinder deactivation cars, automatics, that knock up cylinders as you cruise at high speeds or whatever. And on the manuals it's deactivated. And the fix for it was an improved set of lifters. And that annoyed me again, because it's no big deal putting lifters in a normal car, but on these you have to take the heads off to get the lifters out, and I didn't like the fact that at 7,000 Ks it had the heads taken off. But it's never made a sound since. It's been really good. I think General Motors put out an improved lifter, I think, for the Camaro at the time. But, you know, it's got to spend some time in shelter, though, because see the rubber around there starting to perish? I don't like that. I want to keep this car in much better condition than it's going to get if I leave it outside all the time. And I have seen a V8 Commodore with, it's filthy actually, with delaminating paint. Or clear coat. That's something I really don't want. And the other thing is the gearing's completely wrong in it. At what speed? At 106 gear, it's doing 1500 RPM. So if you imagine at 6 grand in 6, you're doing 400, which is completely useless speed. No, couldn't get anywhere near that. So I think it's got 345 gearing in the back, and it should be 37. I think. So at 100, I only leave it in fifth. 110, it's put in sixth, and it's just at 110, it's doing, you know, what's it doing? 1750 RPM. So as the story goes, I am not allowed to film while I'm driving, so I'm going to turn this off, stick my seatbelt on, and we're good to go. Not really a scheduled stop. You don't realise how big these buggers are until you get right near one. That is monstrous. I knew they were huge, but I've never been this close to one. There, so let's cross the road here, mate. There's one through there. I could just see, I didn't even notice, but I'm driving down, I could just see the tips of the blades above the trees. Like, you always see them from a distance, but they're just absolutely mammoth. Not as mammoth as my love for that car. I better get going. Here comes another car. I don't think you can hear the noise it's making. Nice and safe here, right? We're leaving in about an hour. Just make sure I've taken my bits and pieces out of here. Whoops. And it's left anything in there. Figured it's probably better. Oh! Figured it's probably better if we don't put it in there. Go out here for a minute. I'm just hoping this thing fits. Oh, I haven't got shoes on. Oh.
Well, if not, we'll put it in the garage, but
I'm hoping it fits in here.
Do you want to measure it?
Have you got a tape?
Yeah, Kevin's got one.
It's pretty secure. You've got to get through 2 gates because you've got to get in through Susie's backyard. And we'll put a lock on there, and it just fits in here. So that ride-on will go in the main garage. But I felt kind of bad with them putting it in the main garage because it's kind of their garage, and I mean, I feel bad enough about this, but we've got this arrangement. So she's being paid to keep it here. And it was either that or sell the car, and didn't want to sell it, so I'll pay for some storage, which will be in here. So that's cool. I'm actually really happy about that. Well, we don't think the car's going to fit in the shed, so we've got to go next door and see if we can. You can go and open the gate, and then we've got to see if we can get this car in the garage, in the shed. Otherwise, if it doesn't fit, it's coming home with me.
Leave it here. It might say no.
Too much work to do. I've got to get someone to look at this. There's a big gap under there. The deck's actually sagged, so I need to get someone to look at that. It's keeping up with all the work around here. Since Susie moved, I've got to clean all this area up here. There was a wall unit, a big table and all that sort of stuff. There was just a motorcycle there. And getting around to some of these jobs is difficult at times. I mowed the lawn yesterday, and no sooner do you mow it, this is cooch grass. So, you know, the sun comes out and a bit of rain like this, that's going to need mowing again in about 4 days, I reckon. Don't know. Right, so this is that stuff out of Susie's shed, and most of it's in boxes, but there's a little bit of my stuff there, but most of it's hers. So this stuff, I reckon half of that can go straight in the bin, half of it will be stuff that she wants to keep, baby clothes and stuff from her kids. Some stuff will get sold off. There's table settings and all sorts of stuff in the shed. Some odds and ends I'll sell, or try to, I'll stick in my marketplace, but have a look at this. This is my shed, and I've emptied a bit of that out, a lot of Plymouth seats and stuff. They do take a lot of room, and there's the washing machine I did 10 years ago, whatever it was. So all this shelf has to come out. Now, when we go to Susie's shed, we only had one shed, but I decided to give her this one and build the other one because I couldn't get anything in here. I've got most of that empty. There's those things on the shelves that need to come out. That's not my XD thing, Speedo. That was $10 from this lovely guy, and I can't remember where he was, and he was selling really cheap Ford stuff. Actually, I might get back in touch with him. Talk to Liam Scanlon, he's a very good supporter. And there's this computer on the side of the road. And I thought, I might have to have that. Anyway, Got it home, switched it on, nothing happened. And that can generally be, well, it can be a few things. Motherboard's knackered, CPU's knackered, in some cases RAM, or power supply. Turns out it was the power supply. So this one's got a broken fuse, looks pretty grotty. This one's in a really rusty case, but I can fix that. So I just thought, I'll take the guts out of this thing. I'm just trying to work out the best way of doing it without belting myself. Just on the off chance there's any caps on there that are holding charge. There's a big one there. You don't want to touch anything on the back of these. You get a nasty bite. The fan's soldered onto the board. Let's have a look. That'll come off with the board. And we've got one more screw here. Do you like my EJ workbench? There's its heat sinks. That shouldn't have built me. There we go. It's just dirty and grimy. That fuse there is knackered. I could probably change it, but I don't think I'm going to bother. But I will clean this. And I can't get that little board out there. I thought I could. I don't know how you're supposed to get it out. I'll just blow that off though. I don't know if I've got any air pressure left in the compressor. I'll just give it a little clean up. Not much air in there, but it'll do. And so this case isn't all rusty and horrible. Okay, let's have a look at taking this one apart. Now, this is the good one. So the white's on the right. My iron's ready to go. My iron's really ready to go. It's a warm day today. There we go. The white's on the right. We'll vacate this BS here. Switching power supplies are dangerous because they store power, get a lot of caps in them and that sort of stuff. Regular linear power supplies, oops, as soon as the power goes off, the magnetic field breaks down and there's no electricity in there, so they're safe to touch the moment you turn them off. But when you've got big capacitors around, look out. But there's no point doing this. This worked well. In fact, when I first got it, I found this on a rubbish pile computer as well, but rust had got to the outside but not affected the internals. So I thought, chicken dinner. I can probably use that. So Liam, if you're watching this, it's probably your fault because I was talking to you when I saw it. Which is a pleasure. Anyway, I got the thing home and the first thing I did was went for the RAM. Sometimes the memory can cause issues and that didn't do anything. So then tried a power supply and voila, it worked. It was very slow, Windows XP. It was absolutely full of a whole lot of programs and photos, and I got rid of all the photographs and cleared out all the programs that weren't necessary, at least necessary for me. It runs like a train. It's beautiful. Now let's go with this guy. Electrical crap. Okay, now let's just grab a heat sinky. I'm going to go in here, maybe from this side. In, out, over, and under. Sweet. Get the cable straight in. I'm going to clean that fanny. Hang on a minute. Why isn't you go down? You're not going down because of that. Alright, I think I'm good. Am I good? Sweet. We've just got to hope this thing works now, hey? I'm using the wrong size screw stick as well. The one I normally use is inside. There we go. So yeah, I deleted all the stuff I didn't want. Normally I just wipe a hard disk, if it's somebody else's you just clear it. But it hadn't been used, it looked like it hadn't been used since about 2012, judging by the last used programs when you go in control panel. So I just thought, got rid of all documents and photos and all that sort of stuff, and it's only an 80 gig drive. It's nothing to write home about, but it's nice finding free stuff. So that other power supply, I'm not going to bother repairing it. I'll just chuck it out. Gives me an excuse. I'll show you what I've been doing too. It's just mad, the amount of cleaning up I've been doing. So going out getting other rubbish is not really a fantastic idea. It's not like I need it. Right, see if I get you in from behind. Oh, the shakes today. Oh, I went and got a blood test too. I didn't tell you. And everything's clear. I'm not a diabetic, which was a surprise because I eat a lot of crap. So I've got to be better behaved with what I eat and all that sort of stuff. And I am happy as a pig in poo. That was a good result. Let's blow him out as well. Uh-oh. What it's like to be dumb. Oh, I can't be asked doing that. She'll be right. So I was stoked. Anyway, I got the results back. My cholesterol's too high, no secret there. And it's 5.6, which is too high. But a wonderful patron guy said to me, go and get checked because it sounds to me like you've got diabetes. I've got to go back because I do get tingly fingers, and that's why we thought I had diabetes. And like type 2. My brother's type 1, so it's in the family. And so I've got to go back. I'll just suck that off a bit. There we go. And I might have to have a nerve test or something, I don't know. If you're rocking around, it's because I'm leaning on the car. Oopsie daisy. There we go. So this, ladies and gents, should work. I'm hoping it does. I'm using all the chrome, like the nice ones. All the crap ones that have got rust in them, I'm trying out with the other one. But that's cool. I could fix the other one. As I said, it's going straight in the bin. Now that is only 12 volts or something. Can go there. So I can pop the cover on and we'll give it a road test, huh? We'll just see if this guy works. Okay, it's that way. It's pending 4, you can see that. I took all that out, blew it out, cleaned everything out, and it's all good. Well, I think it's all good. It worked until I did this. But that's what I like, and it's like the cars as well. I love getting trashed cars that are knackered and people don't want, and then making them good again. I get more of a kick out of doing that than I'll ever get in buying a new one. Ask me how I know. So we'll just button this thing back together and try it out. Okay. These are 2 outlets for the, where is it? 2 power sockets. Oh, there we go. Just got to wiggle it a bit. Sometimes they don't line up properly. Where's this one? And I'll just put that CD-ROM back in. Put that motherboard battery out because I wasn't getting any settings. What have we got? Get into the BIOS and mess around. What have we got here? What time is it? What have we got? Oops, I'll just change that out. And I want to go up here. Let's change it. It's the Zenith. See if it misbehaves. We've got a post that gives a power on self-test. We've got a Pentium 2, 2.4 gigahertz. It's picking up a Western Digital 18 gig drive, and there's a systematic thing that comes up soon. No, it didn't. It's just coming up. Well, So I've gone in here and I've actually got rid of everything I didn't want. But the main thing is, you know, all your downloads, your desktop, your desktop's still got stuff on it, iDocs, I've got rid of all license without DVD, music, pictures, I've got rid of videos, I've got rid of all the TIFF files and everything. So it works well. If I go in, it does everything it's supposed to. Anyone who knows me knows how much of a rubbish cook I am. I've just made a salad, and it's Hello Fresh. You get it in a box with all the ingredients. There it is there. And forgot these. And I seasoned this chicken, but that might be done now, I think. And then I ran out of seasoning, which is why there's some paper bits in there. But it's so good. It's really good. I love it. I'm just going to take that bit. Have a look to make sure she's not pink inside. That looks cooked. Wonderful. Let's have a taste. It's on here. That's not in here, surely. Man, that is good. Yummy. It's so nice. There you go. I can't cook for nuts, but that looks pretty darn good. I'm going to go and enjoy that now. I've cleaned up now. How about the dogs? She's got a rash on her face. She's got the motorcycle there and a kitty litter tray, collecting oil. Sorry. This is just one of those cheap rubberwood tables that people get when they're first married or have kids. And it'll do for this. It was just in the shed for ages with boxes stacked on it, and it's pretty knackered. You can see it's all just bits of rubberwood finger jointed together. The other table I had, a glassed up one, failed in about 3 million ways. It's shattered. I'll try and find a photo of it. This was really interesting. We heard a pop. Well, we found this later after we heard the pop, but once we heard the pop, it eventually came outside. This is what we found. And I don't know what's caused it. It's obviously tempered glass, but I thought because it gets afternoon sun there, I thought maybe one side or one corner of the glass got hotter than the other and caused it. But whatever the case, the table was, probably 15 years old by the time this happened. But anyway, the big one we had, the nice one's gone to Sue's, so that'll do for now. It gets it out of the shed. Everything else is clean. I've got to do the lawn. And that's got to go in hard rubbish. The sheds, I haven't had time to do the lawn. The shed's pretty messed up still, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. Still full of junk. There's the washing machine. It's still down there. The Plymouth seats, all sort of stuff, some Starling panels. I've got to work out what I'm doing with all those panels and stuff. A lot of it's gone to Susie's. Most of it is Susie's. In fact, from sort of there over is Suzanne's stuff, and she'll probably chuck half of it out. But I'll take it to her, or she can pick it up when she comes down here. And that obviously, I can't get rid of any of that stuff. That's all for the Plymouth, and there's some Starling stuff there. But this will be emptied, as I said, to have a bit of room. So when I take this off, I'm going to take those bits of colour bond off the side of the shed. What are you doing, dog? Just so I don't have to cut it. I'll use the cheap, flimsy, horrible stuff here that's off this wall to go to the roof. So that if I want to take this away, which I will, I can block it in again if I need to by using those original pieces, which I'll just stash down the side. But I'll make up that, I'll weld up that bit of RHS, as I said before, to brace it against the garage. But there's a couple of tricky things with the council here, because if you have a standalone shed this size, which is like 10 foot by 10 foot or something, you don't need a permit. But you do if you extend, or if you have a bigger shed, it needs to be have a permit. And also, if I extend the garage, it needs a permit. So it might be such that I have a frame joining it to the garage, and have it so it's detachable quickly. So it's two standalone structures. But anyway, this is the one my shed now. It's still pretty full, but there's floor room, which I've never had. So some of this stuff's going to get sold off as well. Speakers, and there's an antique sewing machine, and just crap, really. But I found something here. Where is it? There's the manifold I was telling you about, the 351 manifold, but look, there's a square ball one. So that's nice. No idea what it's going to get used for, but bell housing and all that sort of stuff under there, and lots of stuff. I haven't even arranged the room properly in sort of yonder. But it's a beginning, you know, and I know everything is. Because initially it was just a case of throwing stuff wherever it fitted, but this is a little bit better organised. Just make a box to store this stuff. It's probably not even parallel. Probably measure it. Whoops. The efforts we go to store our stuff, I'm just going to go through that. That's it. These are really rubbish Bunnings blades, and you get one pass and they're blunt. They're terrible things. Sweet. Point in watching videos about, you know, this sort of stuff. But look, it's give me a chance to talk to you. Just wrap some of this stuff up. That's the vacuum motor for it. That'll fit in the middle. That's cool. I'll just leave that there and put this rim job with rim from the steering wheel, the rim blow horn thing. There we go, hang on a minute. But some of this stuff, you know, you might not use it for ages, but it's nice to sort of have it around, just because it's so rare. This is XYXA, this air cleaner. And people just ask absolutely insane amounts of money for stuff like this. And where a couple of years ago I would have just given it away, now it's like, well, I'm not going to, because I'm sick and tired of reading advertisements, you know, $1,500 for an air cleaner. And I saw that for an XD one, I just thought it was basically insulting. It was so stupid. But they're never going to be worth that in my mind, but I mean, you also never know, do you? So, as far as projects are concerned, I'm always chopping and changing my mind. I can't imagine anything that's going to be set in stone, because I know what I'm like. That fits beautifully in there. But I'm feeling so much better relaxed, you know, than I was, because I've had a good break, and I've also done a lot of, I've helped Susie a lot, and I feel really good about that. I'm actually thinking I'll do the same thing she did, probably stay where she is, but I'll go up bush as well, and I'll have a big shed and all this sort of business. Put that in there. What the hell? What the hell's it with all this stuff? I'm sick of this. It's getting everywhere, that stuff. I don't understand it. Anyway. First it's on a badge, then I'm trying to look through Graham's stuff, and he didn't put it there. I don't know where that came from. I don't even know why it was in there. But I was there when he packed that bag. Anyway, whatever. Strange things have happened there. So we'll wrap this guy up. And it's most important we keep it in good nick, and that way it can't get bloody red dirt all over it and all that sort of stuff. Where's the end of this stuff? Just give me a sec. I'm going to just going to get a dustpan and clean that mess up. Just a moment. chucked out in the shed now. It's funny because most of the, like the shed now, the one I call my shed, has actually got more stuff than it had before, which was in the garage. And I've thrown out a whole lot of other business, but it's good. I love a big cull session. What we're going to do is strip it down to every last nut and bolt. Yep. So I've got to store the windows safely. The doors can go down the service area, the service side of the house, which is easy. And that will just leave the body, just the body shell, which I'll weld up a like trolley for it so I can wheel it around. And that'll get wheeled into that shed for now. It'll come out and go and get blasted. And then I'll put it into Epitech and slowly rebuild the car. Right, so that's it for this video. Couple of things. Firstly, I'm not sure if the Commodore is going to fit in that shed at Susie's. We went next door to go and see the guy to see if we can get through into the backyard in her place, but he wasn't around. So what do? Have to wait for Susie's fella to get there, Kevin, to get there and see if it'll go in. If it doesn't go in, I'm not interested in that car getting in their way. I'll bring it home. And she is more than happy for me to put a car in that small shed. So that's really kind of her. And we'll just sort it out when we find the answer to that. The other thing is the wrecking video in the last video. To pull that video. It's... What's the best way to put it? I got a message to say that they didn't approve of the footage and I didn't ask and all that sort of stuff. So it is a private enterprise, I guess. So I've pulled it out. I pulled it out to the point where I can edit it in YouTube and get rid of all that footage and just change the thumbnail. So that might have to be something that is considered. So, bit of a bummer, but that's all there is to it. Whatever the case, take good care of yourselves. Enjoy classic, and I'll see you soon. What do you reckon? She haven't. Jesus. Move. Move, cat. Move. Move. Come on. Off we go.